Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Season 4 of the Roo Hammer live show, where we talk all things One New Zealand Warriors. Thank you all for joining us, and we thank you for understanding the reasons for our little bit of a mid-season hiatus. But tonight we're back. We're going to be talking about Origin 1 and 2 and the Warriors' past three games, the loss to the Broncos in Napier, the victory over the Dolphins at home, and the victory over the Raiders in Canberra. Joining me tonight, as usual, is good mate and co-host Warrior Roo. Rob, how are you, mate? How have you been?
Yeah, been really good. Thanks, mate. Just before we get started, I just want to say on behalf of myself and all the Roo Hammer whānau and viewers out there, we want to extend our deepest condolences to you and your whole family for the passing of your father, Roger. He was a great man. I had the pleasure of meeting him, and it was a fantastic service to send him off on Friday. So on behalf of all of us, we extend our deepest sympathies to you, mate.
Thank you, mate. Been a bit hard. Last couple of weeks. I'm going to try not to cry tonight. It's been very difficult last couple of weeks. As you know, it was quite sicky. I didn't divulge too much information on the show too much, but he had four forms of cancer, kidney disease, and he was doing it pretty tough. And I was fortunate enough in the last couple of weeks of his life that I was along with my sister and of course my mum giving him his daily care. Got to have some really good conversations with him, some really honest ones, and unfortunately, the disease took its toll, and he passed away on Sunday, the 4th of June, 4:13 in the morning, in Mum's arms. Appreciate everyone's support over the past couple of months, and especially in the past couple of weeks. Those that attended the funeral, such as yourself, mate, who came down from Queensland and attended the funeral. It was a touching service.
It was.
Think about him every day. But as I said to you, it's time that we keep those memories close with us, but at some point you've got to start trying to get back into a bit of normality, and what better way for me to do that than appear on screen with you, mate, and we'll have a little bit of a chat about rugby league. But just want to give a shout out to everybody that has contacted us whilst he was sick and since his passing to check in on us. Really touched by some of the people that turned up to the funeral, and performing a haka at the end of that funeral with Laurie Surridge and Josh Gage, Eddie Phillips, and my three boys, Daniel, Kane and Jake, was probably one of the things that I'm going to remember most for the rest of my life. Being able to do that for Dad as the last thing that we could do for him while he was on this earth is, amazing. But let's not make this about me, mate. How have you been? What have you been up to in the couple of weeks we've had off?
I've been good. I've been really busy. I've been pretty excited. Like the sporting life has been going really well for me, actually. So as many people know, I'm a massive NBA fan, and my beloved Miami Heat produced nothing short of a sporting miracle to get all the way to the NBA Finals, coming from the play-in game. It's been a fantastic ride. They didn't win the final. Got rolled by the Nuggets, unfortunately, but you have to be happy with what they produced, and Jimmy Butler was on fire probably up until the final. It just took its toll. The Nuggets were the better side, and they won. But it's been a fantastic ride. I've been busy keeping an eye on that, family life, and of course enjoying how the boys have been playing lately. So but it's great to, as I said, great to spend a couple of days with you over the weekend, and we got to watch the reserve grade game on Saturday afternoon. Which was good, and catch up with old Tonsils Volkman as well after the game.
That typo is going to live on forever. That's his new nickname, Tonsils Volkman.
It's his new nickname, so Tonsils Volkman, yes.
Oh, yeah. And, of course, mate, the cricket. You're a big cricket fan. The Aussies won the first test in the cricket.
Absolutely, the Ashes is one of those things where I always sort of catch up on the highlights because I can never I'm not really a night owl, so I don't really stay up and watch that kind of thing. But yeah, what a result from the captain leading by example. Always good when your captain leads by example, as we know. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Mate, let's get into tonight's show. Before we do,
Yep.
I just invite anyone, if you haven't already done so, to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel to show your support of our streaming content. And I'd also like to acknowledge and thank our wonderful supporters and subscribers, particularly all of our YouTube subscribers, but our awesome Patreon subscribers whose donations and support enables us to upgrade our visual presentation via StreamYard to bring you guys all the content and the guests that you will enjoy so much.
Yeah, mate, I'd like to acknowledge all of our bronze tier Patreons. There are quite a few of you. We thank you guys so much for your support. But in particular, I want to give a huge shout out to our first gold tier patron. And that is Alf Tuolave. So thanks so much to you, mate. Thank you, Alf, for your continued support. He's been with us from the very start, and for upgrading your Patreon from the bronze to the gold tier. We thank you and appreciate it. And I hope you liked the first shirt that you got last week, I think. So so if you are interested, the link is on the screen, and we have multiple Patreon tiers, and you can check that out.
Yeah, just want to echo your sentiments to Alf. Appreciate the support so much from everyone that supports us, but for someone to go a little bit above and beyond and jump on and onto that gold tier, is absolutely outstanding. We really do appreciate it. Mate, let's go all the way back to Origin 1, Adelaide Oval. Let's have a little bit of a chat about that. It was a Maroons victory. The Maroons got up, 26-18. There was a double to the Hammer, a double to Cobbo. Munster got tries. Holmes 3 from 5 goals, and for the Blues it was Martin, Coruscant, Crichton tries, and Cleary 3 from 3 goals. It's been a long while back for me, and I do have to say that over the past couple of weeks, I really haven't watched a lot of footy. For obvious reasons, with what's going on with Dad. So I'm going to be leaning on you a little bit. I did watch Origin, but after watching last night's game, I've kind of forgotten about what happened in Origin 1. I do know that it was, even though it was 26-18, it was a close scoreline. It really was a comprehensive victory to the Maroons, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Firstly, it is definitely weird to see State of Origin in Adelaide, and especially on the middle of a cricket field like that. I can't imagine it would have been the best place to watch footy, but I understand that they are trying to promote the game in other areas of the country. They said it was a sellout, but it clearly wasn't. You could see a lot of empty seats there in the grandstand. But it was. Excuse me. I think at the start of this Origin series, it's shaping up to be fairly even. But Queensland got out to a very quick start. They got out to a 10-0 lead. A Hammer and Cobbo getting tries, and they looked to be on top. The Blues, and this is a bit of a theme of the State of Origin series so far, seem to be going sideways a lot, going side to side. Something, I don't know, whatever it is, Panther ball is just not clicking at Origin level. And they were sort of going side to side. And the one time that they did play straight and put that short ball on for Liam Martin, it worked. It worked for the Blues. Yep. Other than that, it was one of those games where, despite the fact the scoreline fluctuated a bit, Queensland always seemed to be in control. And the Blues did get out to a late lead with that try from Crichton, but it was off a kick. And they had that scrappy try from Coruscant right after half-time that put the Blues ahead 12-10, and then Queensland got another try with Cobbo. So it was a little bit of back and forward. But I don't know. I don't know whether it's history and we know what Queensland have done time and time again, but with 10 minutes to go and Queensland behind, I always just sort of felt confident that they were going to get the job done. And what a play from Munster to put Hammer away. And, geez, it really did. I said it to you guys. It reminded me of Ken Nagus, the way that he moves. He just glides across the turf, and just that in and away, and the move that he put on Tedesco as well to score. And then after that, Lindsay Collins famously outleaping Tedesco to put the result beyond doubt. But there are a lot of comments made about the Blues' lack of urgency and everything leading up to that.
Mate, for me, I just think it was a weird one having a guy like Nico Hines, who is a reigning Dally medalist, on the bench, and he didn't get on the field until the HIA to Tommy Turbo with 10 minutes to go. And it kind of made you wonder why the fuck he was even selected in the first place. And then, as it turns out, he doesn't get selected for game 2.
Well, they're saying they made a mistake with that. Like they more or less were admitting they made a mistake by picking him. He didn't quite fit into their game plan. So it was really weird. That is like it's almost like they got pressured into picking him. Oh, we didn't want to pick him, but everyone was going on about it, so we better put him in the side.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That was the one for me coming out of that game. And then we head to Origin 2 last night, mate. Back at Suncorp Stadium. The last time the Blues won a game 2 at Suncorp Stadium or something was back in 1998 or so. I think the stat was.
Yep. The old Suncorp.
Yeah, but last night it was the Maroons 32, Holmes 2, Tuolungi, the Hammer, Coates, Nanai tries, Holmes 4 from 6 goals. Over the Blues 6. Cook, the lone try scorer, Crichton, the goal. And a blow to the Blues early on. Tommy Turbo looking like he's pulled his pec. Once again, we had a guy like Latrell Mitchell named in the squad, and then he's pulled out, and now we're hearing he might be out for the remainder of the season. Don't know what's going on there. Damien Cook coming on into the centre, so he probably looked the most likely in the first half for the Blues.
He really did. Yep.
Yeah, I thought Moses played quite well considering. The thing for me that was, and it was much like what you said in Origin 1, where the Blues just kept going side to side. There was no real forward penetration. They opted to play a lateral kind of game, and the Maroons just easily countered.
They were doing a bit of barge over plays there as well. And it's not going to work at Origin level. It doesn't cut the mustard.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. And the Maroons were just... Mate, they just dominated that game. They just controlled the game. The Blues had no answers to anything that the Maroons threw at them. In stark contrast, and I know we're Warriors fans, but the Maroons kind of reminded me of the Warriors goal line defense this year. It was really resilient. They scrambled really, really well because the Blues had a lot of opportunities in that game last night, but just really never looked like scoring. And the question has to be asked now: is that it for Fittler? Has he gone? Will this be it for him? He'll coach the dead rubber in Sydney, and then the Blues will look for a coach. The problem that we have is that who's available now that Desi's taken up the role at the Titans. There's one that came out of left field. Holbrook getting sacked today. The Blues are just struggling, and I can see this being a 3-0 whitewash to Queensland.
What about Joey Johns? I mean, he's always very quick to criticise and pinpoint where the Blues are going wrong. Maybe they need someone like, obviously Queensland got Billy Slater, former legend there, doing good things, great things actually as the head coach.
Yeah.
And
yes.
Yeah, maybe they need someone like a Joey Johns or another, or someone mentioned the other day, Danny Badiris, could be maybe a bit of a smoky takeover. But look, one moment for me, which kind of summed it up, and we spoke about this last night, was the Crichton break. He took the intercept basically, and you thought that was it, that was curtains. But he gets run down by, as you said, a
34-year-old bald bloke.
Bald bloke. But it all came down to desire, and DCE just wanted to make the tackle more than I think Crichton wanted to score the try. And there was like three.
Bulldogs fans will be very happy that their future fullback just got run down by the oldest guy on the field in Origin. That's awesome for next year for the Bulldogs.
Dead set on the TB 1-2-2 if I ever seen it. Yeah.
Mate, what are your thoughts at the end of the game? That garbage that happened where Reece Walsh got sin binned. Sorry. Who got sin binned? Someone got sin binned. And then Walsh and Luai both got sent off.
Yes. I can't even remember who got sin binned.
I can't remember. Someone put it in.
In
the comments there.
Watching? Yeah.
Whoever it was got sin binned. And then you had the little argy-bargy with Walsh and Luai, the headbutting. Walsh runs off the field pointing at his emblem and the crowd. Luai runs off the field laughing and what have you. They're going to cop suspension surely for their club teams.
They got fines. It was announced today.
Is that what they got?
The Fox. Yeah, Adokar was
the Fox. That's right.
Adokar thanks, Sammy.
Yeah. But yeah, what a silly way to end the game. And then, mate, I've got to say it, that post that Luai put up on social media today, where he's leaning up against the goalposts and basically saying, yeah, whatever, people, you all have to go to work tomorrow.
All
There was
you
a classic
idiots.
comment.
Yeah. Chill out, idiots. You all have to go to work tomorrow.
Yeah. And then there was that classic comment from I don't know who said, well, you didn't work last night, mate, or something like that.
Well, you didn't show up to your work last night. Yeah. Sick burn.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. Like, first and foremost, it was pretty immature stuff from Reece Walsh, that kind of carry on. It wasn't necessary. We all know what Luai's like. He's the king of that kind of those kind of grubby tactics. Personally, just a really hard bloke to like. Just cannot warm to the guy.
No.
And if I was anything to the Blues, that would be his last ever State of Origin game. The bloke's more concerned about playing for Samoa anyway. So I don't know why they even picked all those blokes to begin with. No. And the comment that we always come back to with Origin, and you and I talk about it a lot, and it's so New South Wales are a team of champion players, and Queensland seem to be a team of champions. Like for as long as I can remember, New South Wales always had the greater talent pool to choose from. Can pick all these guys, embarrassment of riches, but for whatever reason, the Queensland guys, and they put on that maroon jersey, they just grow an extra leg, you know, and it's they play for the jersey and the emotion and the energy and whatever you want to say that the boost they get from putting on that maroon jersey is just something from what I can see beyond what the Blues players kind of get out of it. Yeah.
As you said, mate, it's been that thing. It's New South Wales are a team of champions, and Queensland are just a champion team, and that's the thing. They I don't know. They just they Origin time. They just play better footy. They have more belief in themselves, and I mean, you can't put it down to the coaching. I mean, Billy. Let's be honest. Billy Slater has done a wonderful job in his 2 seasons with the Queensland, but you're not coaching that side. Like you're just managing
man management.
Man management. And we need to find somebody that can manage the egos within the New South Wales team, but also pick a team. Pick a team that is in form. Pick a team of guys that aren't under injury clouds, that aren't struggling in their club form. And, you know, you have a guy like Tedesco who's the captain of the Blues, and he gets picked because he's a captain, but there's 2 and 3 fullbacks that have been playing better footy all year than Tedesco. Probably shouldn't have been there. To'o probably shouldn't have been there. Crichton probably shouldn't have been there. Luai definitely shouldn't have been there. You know, you got guys like Campbell Graham at the South who are playing great footy. Dylan Edwards at Penrith probably deserved an opportunity. So I can't see Fittler making mass changes for Game 3. Unless you have guys that care that much for the state that'll stick their hand up and say, you know what, I don't deserve my jersey for Game 3. It's not going to happen. It won't happen.
No, that won't happen at all. It was also a bit of a throwback to when Laurie Daly was the coach, and he just kept picking the same old numpties like Dugan, Blake Ferguson, Andrew Fafita. These guys that came in but just played up the whole time and didn't take it. Evidently, didn't take it seriously enough. But they kept, and Michael Jennings as well, kept getting in trouble, but they'd find themselves in the side every time. So.
Yeah, Brad says, to be fair, he doesn't even think Teddy's the best fullback in his club anymore. Yeah, I'd agree with that. And fullback playing centres, gets injured, throw in a hooker. Yeah, exactly. Like, where's the thought process in that? They would have been better off putting an edge back rower, like moving an edge back rower like a Frizzell or a Liam Martin out one wider and bringing someone off the bench to play as their edge back row. I don't know. It's just weird. Carrying 2 hookers again, just weird for me. Mate, before we move into Warriors footy, I just want to throw three quick ones at you, 3 bits of NRL news. Get your thoughts on this.
Okay,
because the stuff has happened since we've been off the air for a couple of weeks. Okay, 4 things. I'm going to throw 4 things at you.
4 things. Okay.
Sean Johnson was first linked with a deal from the Tigers. He knocked that back, and he's since come out and said that if he plays anywhere, it's going to be at the Warriors. He's not 100% sure whether he'll play on next year or not. He's enjoying his footy, and the club has come out and said if he wants a a spot next year, there's one for him. What are your thoughts on that? You think Shawnee will resign?
Oh, absolutely. I think they're just working out the terms of the contract, or they're working out the length of the deal. She's probably going to want a 2-year deal. The club, I think, has maintained, or I guess, the rumours have been that there's maybe going to be a 1-year contract or a year-by-year thing, mate. The way he's playing, it's a no-brainer. It's awesome to hear that he's come out and just fully committed to the club. We kind of knew that as well. Young family, moved to New Zealand. He wouldn't have the appetite to move back to Australia again. So, mate, fingers crossed he inks something for next season.
Along the same vein, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck didn't get picked for the Blues in their semi-final last week, which they lost. So his Super Rugby career is over. He was looking forward to the All Blacks. He didn't get picked for the All Blacks team that's going to play Japan, which you would think means he's not in the pecking order come World Cup later on in the year. Do we see the club and Roger linking up earlier than expected, and Roger coming back and playing the back end of this season with the Warriors?
It would be nice, but I can't really see it happening. You never know. Like the ARU might hold into that deal. I think, does he still have to play like provincial rugby as well at the end of the year, or is that the end of his contract after Super Rugby?
Yeah.
They have to. Apparently, the Warriors made an inquiry about it, as I heard on 360 the other night, and they got to pay him like match payments of 25,000 or something like that. If we're to believe that he is going to be a centre, well, centre has been a problem position for us all year. It's been a revolving door.
Brad's saying he does have to play the MPC.
Okay. Yeah, I thought there was something about that. I can't see it happening. It would be nice, but I don't think it would happen. Let him finish off his rugby commitments and get a full preseason in with us. Ready to rip into 24.
Yep. Okay. Alex Twal finally got his first NRL try after 116 games. How good was that, mate? How good was that?
Oh, that was unreal. I was actually at the airport grabbing my bag, and I got a message in our group from Richie Sterling saying it's happened. It's finally happened. So I quickly got out the KO and watched it. Yeah, how good for him, eh? Like it's just so good to see like a feel good story like that. There was a video where they put the Titanic music behind it. That was brilliant. Everything's better with the Titanic music. You could not wipe the smile off his face. Even the ref. Did you see? Even the ref had a bit of a smile on his face. I'm thinking, don't go upstairs and have a look at this. Oh, come on! Like surely the football gods will be on his side. But
yep. I think everyone in rugby league was happy for it. Everyone except Pat Garrigan, who's now what, 78 games and no try.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's the one that would be willing. I could actually see Alex Twal now going on a bit of a run of a try a week for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, wouldn't that
be
funny?
Nice for him?
You just get
mate.
Like
the last thing I want to ask you about. The last thing I want to ask you about is obviously the Dragons parted ways with Anthony Griffin. All thoughts were that Jason Rolls was going to take the role. He then signed with the Melbourne Storm as an assistant, and the job's been given to Shane Flanagan. And then today, as we alluded to earlier, the Titans have sacked Justin Holbrook effective immediately, and the mad scientist Desi Hasler has now taken over the Titans job. What are your thoughts on those two appointments?
Well, the Dragons, absolute basket case. I'm just glad that the Warriors are no longer in these conversations about some of the most poorly run clubs in the competition. I have no idea, firstly, why the Dragons hired Griffin, and secondly, why they even kept him on to start the year, because he's clearly 1 foot out the door, dead man walking. And it wasn't surprising, but handled terribly. Now it's going to cost them their best player, their highest paid player. I don't know why. They surely can't keep him at the club if he's now gone and asked for a release. Like I know that they're trying to dig their heels in, but we know how these things always play out, and you don't want to keep a guy like that under sufferance. So who knows where he ends up? The Titans, that really did come out of left field. As I said to you, blokes, today, why now? Like, why do it right now, a few days out from a big game against the Broncos, a local derby?
Yeah.
Why announce it now? They had a bye last week. Surely that could have been sorted out then. Because by all reports, Holbrook was completely blindsided by it. He said he was called into the office at 9:30 this morning and he was gone. And then it's like, you're out, Desi's in. And it's like, I mean, they weren't going the worst. Like they had 6 wins just outside the 8. I know they have already had their 3 byes, but yeah, true. That one did catch me by maybe the end of the season. Depending on how they went, there might be a conversation there. Same with Adam O'Brien at the Knights, but yeah, wow.
Yeah, that one today when I saw that message in our group chat with the boys, Brad and Richie, I thought, it doesn't make sense to me. Came right out of left field. There was no. I mean, there's always been talk about Holbrook and so forth, but there was no talk that he'd be sacked prior to the end of the year. So that one really threw me for a bit of a curve. Going to be interesting.
Big Mal wants out as well, as someone just commented there. Big Mal's said took him by surprise as well. He wasn't consulted about the move either. So
wonder if Gordon's upset about it as well. Oh, Gordy Tallis, because he's an ambassador or something. Nah, of course not. Of course not. All right, mate. Do you want to move on? To the
absolutely. Yeah, let's rewind a few rounds. Round 13, the game at Napier. So we took on the Broncos, the understrength baby Broncos, whatever you want to call it. We wore this fantastic jersey here, the Indigenous strip. And took our first of our home games on the road to Napier. And it actually was the Broncos, 26. Mariner with a double, Ricky, Mam tries, Reynolds 5 from 5, Warriors 22, Dallin with a double, Nickel Kluxter and Montoya with 1 try, and Johnson 3 from 4. As we said, played by Napier, marred by no less than 9 pitch invaders. So is this the last time we see a NRL game in Napier? Who knows? But that didn't help their chances. The Broncos, they survived a nail-biting final 2 minutes, and the Warriors crossed for what should have been a game-winning try to Marcelo Montoya, only for it to be called back after a review found Adam Pompey had held Dean Mariner back from making a tackle in the lead-up, and that effectively ended any hope of a comeback. You just couldn't believe it. But while luck may have been on their side at the death, that shouldn't take away from what was a really good win for the Broncos side, missing 5 frontline players. It was the Adam Reynolds and Ezra Mam show. They just schooled us all night. The Warriors completed only 66% of their first half sets. They made 9 errors and finished the game with 75% completion rate. And the Broncos ended the game with an 80% completion rate. Freddie Lussick, he left the field with a HIA, but he failed 6 minutes in the second half. So Bailey Sirenen came in, played dummy half for most of that second half. And Chance Kluxter underwent HIA. And on 50 minutes, he passed and he came back and he returned for that final 15. Mate, it's a bit of a cruel tease, the sort of the ending to this game, wasn't it?
Mate, I remember we were watching that. And seeing that play unfold at the end there, thinking that we'd got home, and then the replay, and you can just see Pompey pulling on the jersey, and you're thinking, why? There was no need for it.
We scored anyway.
But in all honesty, it was a game that we really didn't deserve to win, because we were comprehensively out of it, and then we got a couple of late tries back to back, which got us back into the contest. Probably didn't deserve to win the game. Would have been nice to still get those 2 points.
That's what the good teams do. They find a way to win games that they don't deserve to win. The games that they were never in.
Exactly right.
We came so close to pulling that one out of the fire, but wasn't to be.
Yeah, that's 100% true. Who did you give your Dean Bell medal points to in this one, mate?
Yeah, mate, I gave 3 points to Chance. He was fantastic, as he always is. Dallin gets my 2 points with a try double. and 1 point to Adam Fanua-Blake. How about yourself?
Mate, I gave my 3 points to Chance as well. I thought in that game it was absolutely outstanding. I gave 2 points to Adam Fanua-Blake and 1 point to Dallin. I thought those three guys were pretty much standouts in that game. Which brings us to round 14, which was the return to Mount Smart. The Warriors up against the Dolphins, where we wore the that 2003 strip that you've got right there behind you, mate. It was also the Luke Metcalf's debut game for the Warriors.
He debuted the week before. Yeah,
week before. That's right. Yeah.
Yep.
But there was Warriors 30 over the Dolphins 8 for the Warriors. Johnson 2, Wateni Zalesniak 2, Metcalf tries. Johnson 5 from 5 goals. The Dolphins, Tessie Newer try, Jermaine Asako try, and Asako failed with both his goal attempts. This game will forever be very special to me for a few reasons. It was... I didn't get to watch a lot of it live. It was a Saturday night game. Dad was in a pretty bad way this night. This was the 3rd of June, and I was kind of tending to him, and then I was getting called out every time the Warriors scored and kind of come in and out and watched it, and then was going back in and relaying the score for Dad. It was the last time that he was lucid when I told him the score at the end of the game. And as you know, he passed away in the early hours the following morning. So this game will forever be a special one for me when I talk about Warriors results in the future. But the game itself made a dazzling display from Shawnee Johnson and a double to Dallin led the way for the Warriors. Johnson really turning the clock back to the golden days. Yeah. Mate, we got off to a flyer in the 6th minute when Johnson produced a superb solo try from close range, and he kind of left Dolphins skipper Jesse Bromwich clutching at air with some really slick footwork. A setback in the 13th minute when centre Rocco Berry, he left the field for a HIA and he didn't return. But with the game in the balance, it was Shawnee Johnson who blew it open in that 55th minute with his second try of the match, courtesy of some dazzling footwork close to the line. 2 minutes later, we raced to an 18-4 lead when Metcalf finished off some good lead-up work from Bailey Sirinen and Murata Niokore. At that point, Johnson copped a bit of a high shot. He went off the field for a HIA, had the blood dripping from his nose, I think. Or was that? No, that was the following week.
We're getting to that one. The other Metcalf try.
That's right. Yes, exactly. And then having been denied earlier, Dallin got himself on the score sheet when he crossed for his 6th try of the season to blow the scoreline out to 24-4. And then 3 minutes later, he had a double after he took that great intercept on halfway and ran away with it. For me, mate, Murata Niokore had a really good game in this one, I thought, with 146 metres from 12 runs. But again, Warriors fullback Chance Nickel-Kluckster, and people are talking about him in the chat. He is a gun. He's been absolutely outstanding for us this year. He had 17 runs for 178 metres. As I said, I only really watched a lot of the highlights of this. I still haven't sat down and watched the game in full for obvious reasons. But yeah, what did you think of this one?
Yeah, it was a very close contest in the first half. So we got that early solo try from Sean, and then after that, we kind of dominated field position for a while, but we weren't able to get the points on the board. We came close a number of times. It was a bit of a back and forward game as well, end to end kind of stuff. It was 6-4. The Titans got a try back, and it was really close. But then the key moment in the second half was the sin binning of the MILF. And when he was off the field, we got a couple of tries back to back, and that kind of blew the game wide open. And then, two late tries to Dallin sealed the result. Again, very, very good in that second half. Slick in attack, defended really well. It was good to see some players continuing form, like Chance and Sean and all that. But it was Mitch Barnett's return to first grade as well, and he had an outstanding game and didn't miss a beat. So, it was good just to get a win based on the previous week's result when we came out really flat, and this time we put on some tries because I was a little bit worried about our attack.
Who are your Dean Bell medalists, mate?
Yeah, mate, off 3 points to Adam. He once again outstanding. Wade Egan got my 2. Great to have him back in the team, scheming out of dummy half. He makes all the difference. And I gave my 1 point to Mitch Barnett. It was great to have him back, and his impact was felt. Yourself? And your 3-2-1?
Mate, I went Egan for 3, Barnett for 2, and AFB for 1. Yeah, Egan for 3, Barnett for 2, AFB for 1, mate, were mine.
Yeah, awesome. All right, so moving on to the latest Warriors game that we had. That was round 15 in the nation's capital. It was the Jared Croker 300. We were also celebrating some milestones of our own. But yeah, what a win that was. Warriors 36. Dallin, Watinis Lesniak, Nickel Klukstar, Tommy Arleish, Metcalf, Egan, and Johnson tries. Johnson 4 from 4, Pompey 2 from 2. And the Raiders 14. Whiten, Papali'i tries, Croker 3 from 3. And as I said, the Warriors absolutely crushed Jared Croker's 300 game party with an emphatic 36-14 win at GIO Stadium. Former Raider, Chancellor Klukstar, and playmaking Supremo Sean Johnson, they ran riot. And the Warriors turned a 2-point halftime deficit into 8th win of the season. The first 16 minutes, it was all the Raiders. They had 64% of possession, but they were unable to crack a resolute Warriors defense before a bit of an individual piece of brilliance from Jack Whiten. Got the green machine on the board in the 22nd minute. The Warriors then lost Mitch Barnett to Sinbin for a high shot, but they managed to level the scores while we were a man down, with Dallin scoring a spectacular try off a Johnson kick. And Adam Fanua-Blake, he played his first 40 minutes without a break, came up with 21 tackles at 60 run meters, and he finished the night with 180 meters. And Warriors fullback Chance Nickel Klukstar was huge against his former team. 6 tackle breaks, 24 runs for 194 meters, and getting that try after halftime. So the Warriors have now won 4 away games in 2023. So that was against the Cowboys in round 3, Sharks in round 5, Bulldogs in round 11, now the Raiders in round 15. And Warriors halfback Sean Johnson, this is what you were alluding to before, left the field for a HIA in the 67th minute after accidental head clash with Elliot Whitehead after he'd put Luke Metcalf over for his try. But he did pass the HIA. He returned to the field and scored that amazing try from the kickoff. Never seen anything like that before. A bit of carry on afterwards, but he just said he was just so shocked that kind of thing happened. But yeah, what another great moment for SJ this year. Yeah, Mitch Barnett, he was a powerhouse off the bench for the Warriors, and we're definitely going to miss him this week. But he got 165 meters from 16 runs. And Murata Niokore, he was also put on report and sent to the bin for the 76th minute for a high shot that forced Jordan Rapana off for a second HIA. And as good a servant to Canberra as Jared Croker has been, and he's a great bloke and he's been a great player. I wasn't too disappointed to spoil his party because the number of times he has ruined my life by scoring hat tricks against the Warriors. I was just happy to get one back on him. But obviously a fantastic milestone for Jared.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, fantastic milestone for Jared. As you said, we had a couple of milestones in that game ourselves. I think it was Josh Curran's 50th NRL game. And I think it was Montoya and AFB were playing their 50th club games, I think.
50th, game for the Warriors.
Yep. Josh Curran plays his 50th game for the Warriors this week in the Dragons game. But yeah, so we had a couple of milestones that we were celebrating as well. Not as big as the 300 for Jared Croker, but as you said, mate, he's caused enough heartache over the years in games against us where he scored trebles and golden point try. I was at down in GIO one year.
That's right.
So, sucked in, Jared. But yeah, as you said, mate, a fantastic game of football. Everyone's saying it's probably our best away win all season. I couldn't disagree with that. For us to go back-to-back in those wins against the Dolphins and Raiders and look convincing, because one thing that we've spoken about in the past is going into the back end of the season and hopefully playing semi-final football. You want to be able to beat the teams that are in the top 8, and we've done that this year with wins against the Sharks, the Dolphins now, and the Raiders. So that holds us in good stead moving forward. As you said, mate, this was a fantastic game of footy. I know there was a big contingent of Warrior Nation that were down there. I was supposed to be down there for that game, but obviously couldn't get there with stuff that we had to organise up here in Sydney. But yeah, mate, the Dallin Watene-Zelezniak try, that was just absolute freak stuff from Dallin. Pinpoint kick from Sean. But yeah, and then as you said, a bit of carry on by Shawnee when he scored, but who can blame him? He earned that. It was great. Who did you see as your Dean Bell medalist points for this week, mate, in that game?
Well, I feel like a broken record, but mate, how good is it? How good is it? The CNK 3 points, absolutely brilliant. Once again, he was outstanding. Like his carries, his defensive play, he just never makes a mistake. Scoring tries as well, especially a big one up against his old team. He got my 3. Sean Johnson, again, involved in everything. Try assists, scoring tries, doing absolutely everything. Rare career best form for the man. He gets my 2. And once again, AFB, just the workhorse meters, post-contact meters, having a superb season as well. And yourself?
Mate, I gave mine 3 points to CNK. He's been absolutely outstanding week in, week out. Best on field, undoubtedly. 2 points to Sean Johnson because nothing happens in that game without Johnson's input. And I gave my 1 point to Dallin. I just think Dallin has been getting our set started. Like we have CNK taking the ball and then Dallin on the next run. He's been sensational in that role for us this year. So they were the points that I gave out. And that kind of brings us to our medal tally so far, incorporating those 3 games. So we've got Adam Fanua-Blake on 36 points, Sean Johnson on 34, and Chans now on 31, hot on their heels, with Tohu probably the next best, 10 points behind on 21. So, it's been a big couple of weeks for Chans. He's rocketed up that points list. Mate, people are talking about it in the comments, mate. We've got Dragons this week coming off a bye. Do you want to go through the team list for us, mate?
Yeah, we'll go through the team. So this is actually the 8:00 Channel 9 game on Friday night. So it must be a blue moon being on free-to-air TV again. It's at Wollongong. Hasn't been a happy hunting ground for us, but we did win our last match there, but that was 5 years ago. So let's go through the team that Webby has named. We got Chance Nickel-Kluxter, Dallin and Marcello Montoya on the wings. Rocco Berry, he returns in the centres alongside Adam Pompey. Luke Metcalf and Sean Johnson in the halves. Adam Fanua-Blake, Wade Egan and Bunty Arfoa named to start in the front row. Jackson Ford coming up against his old club for the first time. In the second row with Murata Niokore and Tohu Harris. On the bench, welcome back Dylan Walker and Josh Curran playing his 50th Warriors game as well. Bailey Sirinen and Tommy Ale. And on the extended bench, we have Freddie Lussick, Braden Viliami, Tonsils Volkman, Kalani going, and Zion Mayu.
Oh, mate. Funny,
tonsils.
Man.
Hey? The team, I was happy for the most part with the team. My first initial thought was the debutant Ali Leotawa was not getting another look in with Rocco Berry coming back, but I've since learned that he has a bit of an injury. I think he picked up a hamstring injury in that game against the Raiders.
He did.
Rocco Berry, after missing that game, he comes back into calculations. And I think this kind of shows Webby's pecking order a little bit because Braden Viliami is fit and he's on the extended bench, has played New South Wales Cup, but Rocco has been selected ahead of him. So at the start of the year when Viliami was in the team, I think Rocco Berry himself was injured. So Rocco is obviously up there with Webby is in his first choice centre pairing. What are your thoughts?
It shows how far Vili Vallejo has dropped in the pecking order.
Yep.
we went out and watched the game last week, New South Wales Cup game, and Vili Villay are still very suspect in that in the defensive role. He got beaten quite a few times in that game by KL Iro, I think he was marking.
Yes.
Yeah. So Vili with he's got a little bit of work to do. I hearing that Leotoa was injured, I wasn't really that surprised with the thing. You did say Jackson Ford coming up against his old team. I didn't realise we're playing the Illawarra Cutters this week because he rarely played first rate at the track.
I remember he was promoted as having played over 100 games or something.
He did. He was, yeah. I like the team. I'm really happy with the return of Dylan Walker. I thought we might have got Jazz back this week too. I don't know how far away Jazz is. But I did see the reserve grade listing, and Ed Causey is back this week playing on the wing. So good to see Ed come back. He could put a little bit of pressure on those outside backs as well, because we know he can slot into the wing and they can move Marcelo Montoya into the centres if need be. The big one this week in this game will be whether or not Ben Hunt plays, backing up
apparently
2 nights after. Well, his name...
He's come out. Apparently, he came out and said in a press conference today that he is playing. Okay.
Well, be interesting to see how he's received by the Wollongong faithful.
Exactly.
So looking at this team, mate, you would have to think, based on where both teams are positioned on the ladder and how the Warriors have played their last 2 games, that this will be a little bit of a points fest for the Warriors. However, we did see that the bye really affected us last time out. We came out against the Broncos a little bit lackluster. We didn't have the energy and intensity that we needed in that game, and I'm hoping that Webby's addressed that this time around, and we come out with the energy and the intensity that we need. But it's a good-looking team across the park, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen, as you mentioned, with Webby, he's obviously a very smart coach, and he picks up on those kind of lapses, and he would have addressed that. He'd have the boys out there ready to go. So I'm expecting that we should get a fairly comfortable win. However, the Dragons are definitely a bogey side of ours. We have come up against them in the past, no matter how we're traveling, how they're traveling, and they just, for whatever reason, just turn it on against us. There was a period of almost 10 years where we didn't beat them. I know this is going back in history, and it's a completely different side. Win Stadium, we've had 1 win there, and that was back in 2018. And then prior to that, I think we last beat the Illawarra Steelers there in 1996. So definitely not a happy hunting ground for us. However, again, this is a completely new side, new coach, new players, and we've proven that we can get the job done. And no matter who is in the team, we've got that next man up mentality, and whoever steps into the side is doing a job. Fantastic to have Dylan Walker back, as you said, giving us that impact and versatility off the bench. I am going to break tradition and move away from my very nervous 4-point win, and I'm going to say we're going to have an 8-point victory, a mildly comfortable 8-point victory.
Oh, okay. Well, I just want to give a shout out to Richie Morgan of Warrior Nation. He's organised a group of about 90 people going down there. He fought hard for some tickets in a alternative bay to the one that the Dragons gave us, and I showed you that bay when you were with me on the weekend, and it doesn't even face the field; it faces another. It's shocking. That's where they put us every year. Richie's fought hard. He's got some decent tickets in a decent bay. We've got 90 heading down there with Richie this week, this Friday night. So thank you to all those people heading down from Sydney for this game, mate. I think it'll be a 13 plus. I think
hope so.
We're travelling really, really well, and I think it'll be another 13 plus victory, and a victory that'll hopefully push us up towards that top 4. Let's have a look at the other games, mate. Saturday, Dolphins versus Eels. Thoughts on this one?
Dolphins and Eels. This is an interesting game. The Dolphins have, I know we've said this a couple of times this year, but it feels like their bubble has burst a little bit Eels are coming into a bit of form at the moment. It's going to be a tight one. I think the Eels will get them in an up. I don't know if it's an upset, but it'll be a close game. I'm picking the Eels in a tight one.
Yeah, I'm picking the Eels as well. I agree with you. I think the Dolphins have the length of the season is starting to catch up with them, and they're starting to get a little bit tired. And they've got a couple of guys that are backing up from Origin, and the Eels have really been unaffected by Origin. I know they had Paulo and Mitch Moses, but Gutherson at the back, and Simonson's playing some good footy. Cartwright's playing some good footy. Dejan Arzi has been playing. He's been playing two good games for the Eels. I'm going to pick the Eels in that one. Panthers versus Knights at Penrith, mate. What's your thoughts on this one?
Look, I expect the Panthers to win fairly comfortably here. The Knights were a bit disappointing last week against the Roosters. They should have come back and they should have won that one. Again, another team with a coach under a little bit of pressure. I expect at Penrith, Panthers 13 plus.
I think it'll be close. I think the Panthers will win, but I don't think it'll be. I think they'll maybe 6 or 8 points. I'm still not convinced on the Panthers this year. But
they're not what
I think
they were.
they're getting the Knights. No. The other game on Saturday night, the final game, Storm versus the Eagles, mate. Thoughts on this one?
I think Siebes' boys have done their dash for the year. They're no longer heavily entrenched in the top 8. The Battle of Brookvale moved to Melbourne, and you don't see Melbourne lose too many games on their home deck. And I expect their big guns from Origin to come back and carry on their merry way. I think it's going to be a big win to the Storm.
I think so too. I think our mate Turbo is going to be a big out for the Sea Eagles. He was only listed on the reserves bench anyway, so it's not like there's a shuffle. I'm sure they've trained without him. But I think the Storm will just be way too strong. Broncos versus Titans. Titans first game with Desi at the helm, mate. What do you think this one will be? Broncos with what? 5 players backing up from Origin or something like that? 4 players?
Who knows how this is going to go? Like this is what I meant before. Like, why do this days out from a game? How are they supposed to respond to that? And what I meant to ask before is Desi coming in right now? So Desi is actually now the coach.
Yes, effective immediately.
Effective immediately. Yeah. I have no idea how that's going to operate. How they're going to respond to his mad, crazy, loopy tactics. But anyway, the Broncos proved after the last Origin game that they backed up fine. All their big guns came out and played well. So I think that the Broncos will win this one comfortably. It's at Suncorp Stadium, is it? Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, funny that. Yeah. Broncos 13 plus for me.
Yeah, Broncos 13 plus. Paddy Garrigan to score a try in this one, I think. Hot on the heels of Alex Twal.
You reckon?
Rabbitohs versus Cowboys. This one's a really interesting one for me. Rabbitohs kind of not going as well as they were, and the Cowboys are starting to lift a little bit. What are your thoughts on this one, mate?
Yeah, look, as you said, the Cowboys have been playing a lot better, although I do think they've had a couple of wins they played against the Storm straight after Origin, wasn't it? They had a lot of players out. They had a comfortable win there. They're starting to gather momentum, but I think they traditionally don't play that well in Sydney. Coming up against the Rabbitohs, there'll be no Latrell. Or is Latrell named? They said he was going to come back a lot faster than what people thought. I haven't actually seen.
No, Latrell's not playing.
Not playing. Okay, yeah. I still expect that the Rabbitohs will get the job done. I think it will be close though, based on the Cowboys' recent form. Rabbitohs 1-12.
And mate, the Roosters, the 11th place Roosters up against the 7th place Raiders. Sorry, mate. I think. Sorry, back to the other game. I'm going to pick the Rabbitohs in that one. But Roosters Raiders. What's your thoughts on this one, mate? Because the Roosters are under a lot of pressure at the moment.
This is a very interesting game. Home game for the Roosters, but they've been battling along. They did get a win last week over the Knights. Raiders had been going great guns until Ricky started doing his meddling with the team and resting players and doing all that sort of thing. Who knows whether that was just a blip on the radar? They said teams celebrating massive milestones like that are only 6 from 18. So who knows whether the occasion got the better of them.
Oh,
I'm gonna go for what would be probably considered an upset. I'm gonna go the Raiders in a close one. Raiders 1-12.
yeah, I'm going Raiders. Definitely Raiders. They're again. I thought, that maybe that milestone game just got a little bit too much for them against the Warriors. But yeah, Raiders for me. And of course, the Bulldogs, the Tigers, and the Sharks all have the bye, and we'll get the 2 points this weekend. But yeah, mate, that's kind of coming to the end of what we wanted to do tonight. It was just good to get back on air, talk some footy.
Brush out the cobwebs.
We've got some brush out the cobwebs, chat about a couple of weeks of Warriors and Origin footy, get us ready and back in ready for next week again. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll be back next week. So we will be back to our usual time slot of 7:30 p.m. on Wednesday night. So as usual, we'll have our weekly review show. So yeah, tune in every Wednesday night at 7:30 p.m. to catch us. We're also going to still be uploading some of our pre-recorded content as well. So we'll be going back to doing our NRL round reviews. So you'll be able to catch that on our YouTube channel every Monday evening. Yep. That should be uploaded. So make sure that you do subscribe to the YouTube channel so you don't miss any of that.
Absolutely. Before we wrap it up, again, I just want to acknowledge and thank all our wonderful supporters, especially our you guys on YouTube and our Patreon supporters for their continued support. If you want to show your appreciation and support, you can head to our Patreon page to subscribe to our bronze tier, general support level, or our silver or gold tiers, which include the supporter merchandise and other benefits. And a huge shout out to Malcolm Earnshaw, who has subscribed to our gold tier Patreon during the show. Mate, we'll be in touch, and you can let us know which shirt you'd like us to send you.
Send us a message on Instagram or Facebook, mate, and tell us which shirt you would like and what size and color, and we'll get that sorted for you.
Yeah, first of 2 on our gold tier. So first one comes out, and then we'll send the other one out in a couple of months' time. But yeah, really appreciate that, and thank you very much. And again, I just want to, before Rob closes out the show, I just want to thank everybody out there in Roo Hammer land who have shown so much support for myself and my family over the past couple of months, and in particular the last couple of weeks. It's been, a hard, difficult period of time for us, and just really appreciate everyone's support, but none more so than yours, mate. I'm blown away by the support that you've shown the family and myself, and to be there and support me at a time when I really needed it. That's why you're my best mate, and I love you, brother, and thank you very much.
No, it's feelings mutual, mate. No, yeah, nowhere else I would have been. It was honoured to be there and to celebrate and to meet all your wonderful family and catch up with all of them. So, yeah, no, it was my absolute pleasure. Well, guys, thank you so much for rejoining us at Roo Hammer. It was great to get back and, as we said, just chat footy, and great to have you all on board. And we will be hoping for a big win tomorrow night. If you're going there, enjoy it. Make sure you say good day to Richie from Warrior Nation as well. But otherwise, go the boys, and we will catch you guys next week.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.